Lebaron Incorporated was an automotive design firm founded in 1920 that expanded into custom coachwork in 1924. They would produce custom-ordered bodies for the likes of Duesenberg, Packard, Rolls-Royce, Hispano-Suiza, Cadillac, and eventually the Chrysler Imperial starting in 1931. Production figures were in single digits, and an Imperial Lebaron started near $2,800, or just over $55,000 in today's money, a fraction of what the cars actually go for today in original condition. It featured torpedo styling with a V'd grille and a split windshield. In 1932, the Imperial became available in a shorter wheelbase version, and Lebaron was building the bodies for all the long, 146-inch wheelbase versions, something that would continue through the airflow Imperials of the mid-1930s, and Lebaron would have some influence on the Art Deco design that replaced them. But in 1940 and 41, they would build two custom-bodied cars for Chrysler, the Newport Phaeton and the Thunderbolt, more design studies that never went into regular production. And although there were 6 of the Newport built, custom coachwork was pretty much a dead industry by this point. And in 1953, Chrysler purchased Lebaron and its parent company, Briggs. In 1955, Imperial became a separate division from Chrysler, and in 1957, the Lebaron name returned as the high-end model. Like other Imperials of the year, it was on a 129-inch wheelbase, was 224 inches long, and powered by a 325 horsepower, 430 pound-foot of torque, 392 Hemi V8, backed by a 3-speed torque flight automatic, for speeds near 120 miles an hour and a 17-second quarter mile. Prices started over $5,700, and only 2,640 were made. Changes for 1959 included standard 6-way power seats and a lighter 413 wedge with 350 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. 1960 Lebarons got a smaller, more formal rear window for increased backseat privacy. Sales would drop to just over 1,000 for 1961 due to bizarre freestanding headlights combined with quality control problems and a price nearing $6,500. So styling would be toned down for 1962, and the transmission got a smaller, lighter housing, helping to lower weight and increase interior room. Imperials received new conservative styling for 1964, and the formal roof was now shared with the less expensive crown. It had a new Imperial Eagle logo over the gas cap that would later become the Lebaron logo. Overall, it would be acclaimed for its comfort and flat handling for a car of its size. Prices remained similar, but sales were up to nearly $3,000 for the year. 1966 models upgraded to a 440 with 350 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, and one would be presented to the Pope. For 1967, the Imperials were all new, but were once again sharing their platform with Chrysler. Wheelbase was down to 127 inches, and at nearly $6,700, the Lebaron remained the top trim level, with sales back down to around $2,000. Like Chrysler, Imperial moved to fuselage styling for 1969, offering a Lebaron coupe for the first time. Prices were down about $1,000 to just over $5,800, and sales leapt to nearly $20,000. And although sales would drop dramatically the following year, the Lebaron would become Imperial's best-selling model, and for 1971, its only model, when it became the first to offer ABS, and horsepower was reduced to 335 gross, or 225 net. It was also available with a mod top, or patterned vinyl roof. 2 1972 models would be used as presidential limousines through 1981, and in 1974, Imperial shared their body and 124-inch wheelbase with the Chrysler New Yorker, but had distinct, more formal front styling. Prices were nearly $7,800, and sales were under $15,000. But 1975 would be the final year of the Imperial Lebaron, and pretty much for the Imperial as a brand, with the styling being used the next year on the New Yorker Brougham. However, it would only be a couple of years before the Lebaron name returned as the new small Chrysler, offered in 2- and 4-door sedan, and soon as a town and country wagon. Prices started at a little over $5,000. The coupe was 204 inches long on a 107-inch wheelbase, while others used a 113-inch wheelbase and were 203 to 206 inches long. Initially, the only engine was a 5.2-liter 318 V8, with 140 net horsepower and 235 pound-feet of torque. But in its second year, you could get a more powerful 4-barrel version with 155 horsepower, or a bigger 5.6-liter 360 with up to 170 horsepower, or a 3.7-liter 225/6 with 90 horsepower. And sales would leap to nearly 130,000, but would fall to less than half of that for 1980, in spite of receiving a facelift and a limited Fifth Avenue edition that year. For 1982, the car gained content, got upgraded styling, and was renamed the New Yorker Fifth Avenue, with a price increase of over $4,000, while the LeBaron name was moved to a front-wheel drive K car that year, down to a 100-inch wheelbase and 180-inch length, and powered by either Chrysler's new 2.2-liter inline-4 with 84 horsepower or Mitsubishi's 92 horsepower 2.6-liter. It was not only offered as a coupe, sedan, and wagon, but would revive the deceased American convertible. And prices were up from the old model almost $1,500 to over $8,100 to start, with features not available on lesser K cars, such as voice alerts. First-year sales were near 75,000. A limited town and country version of the convertible would be added for 1983, and in 1984, the 2.2-liter gained an optional turbo, bumping horsepower to 140. 1985 saw the introduction of the LeBaron GTS, a roomier yet sportier sedan that attempted to have a more European feel to it. About half an inch longer, but on a 103-inch wheelbase, the 2.2-liter had 99 to 146 horsepower and was joined by a torquier 97 horsepower 2.5-liter, available in high-line and premium trim levels, and starting at just over $9,000. It was actually a few $100s cheaper than the regular LeBaron, selling around $60,000 for the year, or about two-thirds of what the standard LeBaron was up to for the year, which received a minor facelift and revised interior for 1986. And the coupes and convertibles would be dropped the following year to be replaced by the new LeBaron GTC, which also replaced the Chrysler Laser Touring Coupe. It shared its engines with the LeBaron GTS, and in spite of being the priciest of the three, starting at over $11,000, it was also the best seller at $85,000 for the year. The basic LeBaron model was dropped after 1988, and the LeBaron GTS just became the LeBaron, although the premium trim level was renamed GTS, only to be replaced by a new LeBaron sedan for 1990. It was 183 inches long on a 104-inch wheelbase and 3,000 pounds, and initially powered by a 141 horsepower Mitsubishi 3-liter V6, which also found its way into the LeBaron GTC that year, where the convertible surpassed the coupe in sales, being two-thirds of the 60,000 total for the year. But sales of this generation of LeBaron sedan were disappointing. So for 1992, a cheaper version with the 2.5-liter 4 was introduced, helping sales climb back over 30,000. The coupe and convertible received a facelift for 1993, but it would be the last year of the coupe, as it was replaced by the Sebring SLX, as part of Chrysler's latest restructuring. It was essentially a coupe version of the Mitsubishi Galant, or a long wheelbase version of the Mitsubishi Eclipse. The LeBaron sedan would also be replaced in 1995 by the Cirrus Cloud Car, bumping sales back up to 80,000. That would also be the last year of the convertible, which was replaced by the Sebring JLX. No relation to the coupe, it was actually a convertible version of the Cirrus, and it helped Chrysler retain its sales leadership in the convertible market, at least until the next restructuring. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below and like and subscribe.